All right. Well, welcome back, guys. I know this is the day that you guys usually expect me to do my recap, but I decided to switch it up this week, and I'm going to do something a little bit different that I think you guys are going to enjoy a little bit more. So we have a four-way tie at the bottom of the league right now, and the race for the GD is very real right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take those four teams, and I'm going to tell you guys where they went wrong and why they deserve the GD. So, examining each team individually here, let's start with the reigning and defending Golden Douche. Jared Golden Douche Salzman, the Salzmaniac. Where did it go wrong for you, Jared? I think you can trace it all the way back to the draft. Jared drafted Brady and Gronk with his first two picks, and then traded them away for basically Travis Kelce and Jay Ajayi. Later traded Kelce for Julio Jones. So basically, for your first two picks, you got Julio Jones and Jay Ajayi. Awful. Why Jared deserves to be GD? Well, for one, he usually is. I mean, Jared's won it 2 years straight, and he's challenging here for the third year in a row. For two, it would be hilarious to have the same guy win it 3 years straight and have to wear a dress to be sticker bitch. And finally, he broke one of the fantasy commandments. Thou shalt not trade Bronk. Don't do it. It's a bad idea. So moving to John here, who, yes, John is a GD contender. Where did it go wrong, John? You punted a week away, just gifted Tony a win. So why? Why did you do that? So you could hang on to such legends as Stephon Diggs, Derrick Henry, who you never play, by the way, Chris Hogan, who you later dropped. The arrogance of such a move to just punt a week away because, oh, my team's good enough, it doesn't matter. It obviously displeased the fantasy gods. So that's the only reason why you're in this position right now. Now, why does John deserve to be the GD? Well, John is a good guy, but he cried about the rules being unfair, then proceeded to take advantage of said rules only days later. Had a horrific team name that I couldn't say for most of the season. Just because I know you just had that team name because you were trying to get me to say it. Didn't happen, and you caved and changed your team name in your face. And, of course, the number one reason why John deserves to be the GD, he drafted Ezekiel Elliott, who is among the worst human beings in all of professional sports. So there you go. So Tony Jr. Is an interesting case here. So where did it all go wrong? I think you guys already know the answer to this. He traded Russell Wilson for Dez Bryant. Basically the equivalent of when the Cubs traded Hee-Seop Choi for Derek Lee to the Marlins. It's one went on to be an MVP, the other went on to be a chef at a Chinese buffet, a low-end Chinese buffet. And that's where Dez Bryant belongs, working at a low-end Chinese buffet. Why Tony deserves the GD? Well, for one, Tony is absolutely the front runner for Crybaby for the third time in 4 years, threatening to not play in the league next season if we don't change the rules to better suit him is an act of terrorism. But don't worry, guys. Your commissioner does not negotiate with terrorists. So I will not be acquiescing to his nonsense. We can talk about different things in the league, but I don't do the threat thing. So also, it would be awesome having Tony at the draft. I can just see him right now, steam coming out of his ears, just angry as all hell, making all of his excuses on and having to be the sticker bitch. I don't know that you have the temperament to handle it, Tony. I don't know that you can handle it. But you know what? When you're the GD, you take it like a man. So that's what it is. Jared has shown everybody how to handle the GD with class and aplomb. And I applaud you, Jared, for how well you've done with the GD. So hopefully the future GD, if it isn't you, which there's still a pretty good chance it will be, but if it isn't, then at least, hopefully they can follow your example and take it the right way. So finally, we come to the man, the myth, the golden douche legend himself, Steve. The whole golden douche thing started because of Steve. And I'll get to that in a minute. So where it went wrong, Steve showed up. That's it. Did you guys expect something else? We can trace his failures all the way back to the draft. If you want to talk about DeMarco Murray and AJ Green at the turn, way too early, then trading them for what was it? It was CJ Anderson and AJ Green for Michael Thomas and Carlos Hyde or something like that. Just a terrible, terrible trade. And then proceeding to overvalue Michael Thomas all season long and rejecting offer after offer of better players for him all season long. Truly a tremendous display of how not to manage a fantasy team. And let's not forget here that if Tony knew how to evaluate quarterbacks, Steve would already have the GD wrapped up. If he would have traded him Dak Prescott instead of Russell Wilson, this thing would be over already. So why Steve deserves to win? Steve is the entire reason we started the GD. We all, in some part of our hearts, we all want to see Steve get it. Can you imagine a funnier outcome for the draft next year than Steve having to put stickers on the board for Joe after their altercation a few years ago over the stickers? Can you imagine how obnoxious I'm going to be, how obnoxious Reese is going to be, how obnoxious Jason is going to be at this draft, making fun of Steve? The one thing that unites this league together is that we can all come together to make fun of Steve. So hopefully, Steve, you don't let us down. You go out there, you get us a GD like we know you're capable of, and hopefully that's how it goes down. But I would also like to bring up the point in my vicious beating of Steve this past week that I was playing 3D chess with Steve, and I destroyed him. I mentally broke him down and beat him mentally before the players even stepped onto the field. I convinced him to sit Russell Wilson and to start Kirk Cousins, which directly led to Steve's loss. So that's another reason why you deserve the GD. You don't sit the number one player in fantasy, and you don't listen to the guy you're playing against, you dope. So, Steve, you truly deserve the GD more than anybody else. And I firmly hope it's you. But if it can't be you, I hope whoever else gets it handles the situation as well as Jared has in the past. Truthfully, if it's not you, Steve, it'll probably be Jared. My prediction, however, is that Steve and Tony will finish at 5-9, and they will have a golden douche playoff game in week 15 in which Tony comes out ahead as everyone in the league piles on to ensure that Steve is the douche. Would you have something to add?
I just want to say to everybody, how about this son of mine here beating Steve to get me into the playoffs? And all I can tell you is, how do y'all like me now?
Yeah.
I'm in the playoffs. You all mocked me. And Jason, you know what I mean. I'm coming for you.
Okay, fair enough. So Papa Welch coming for Jason Gotch here. And I got to tell you, it's not out of the realm of possibility that we have an all-Welch Super Bowl, by the way, still. If Reese knocks off Jason and my dad knocks off Steve, it's going to be Reese versus Pack Attack in round 1. I don't know, man. We could have our first all-Welch Super Bowl in quite some time. So a lot of exciting stuff going on. I'll hit you guys up with some matchup previews either tomorrow or Thursday, and let me know what you guys think about the new format here of what I chose to do this week, and I will catch you guys either tomorrow or Thursday.